Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we are back to LEGO Jurassic World. Let's continue the story of Jurassic Park 3. It's kind of amazing, the music of Jurassic Park. It is rather good, and yet totally never got overused. It probably got overused in the movies, but you pretty much forget it even exists after you stop watching the movies until you start watching the movie again, and then you hear that music and you're like, oh yeah, I remember that. At least that's my experience with it. It's like, yeah, that's really good. It's almost as if you like had a favorite song that never played on the radio and you didn't have a copy of it either. Looks like he's gonna cut through here because otherwise I don't think I have a character that could open that. And we need the agile lady to... She needs to come running at it and slide. This is actually a little interesting that this new technique was introduced. And I would love to see it in every LEGO game going forward, but it's the first time you've ever had to do two buttons at once as far as I configure, because you have to be moving forward and hit A, where everything else is kind of hit A, then a second later maybe hit a different button. Like here, hit B, then a second later it's tapping B. It might actually be a little difficult for very, very young video game players to get the slide to work. Heck, it was a little difficult for me. And she just kicks it instead of having to spin. That's interesting. That's a nice way to do that. That almost feels like that happened in the movie. Do winches work that way? I don't believe they do. I don't think they're spring loaded. I don't think you can just kick them and they'll wind back up. That would be rather dangerous, because then somebody might hit it while somebody's holding on to it. We need our adventurer guy. Maybe it's the haircut he has that makes him an adventurer. Yeah, people with cool haircuts are adventurers. That's the one thing about movies in particular, is that you'll get a lot more fashion diversity and haircut diversity than what you would actually see in anybody who actually worked in whatever field the actor is portraying, because most people are pretty, they don't care about fashion unless you work in fashion, and a lot of times there's shockingly a large amount of dress codes in every job. Even the lowest jobs at working like a McDonald's or a movie theater has a dress code, and the highest jobs have some form of formal or informal dress code. About the most famous person that ever got away from breaking an informal dress code was Steve Jobs, because he tried to institute a black turtleneck and slacks dress code in one of his factories, and all the employees said, no, this looks horrible. He said, fine, I'll just wear it myself, out of just silly childishness, really. And so he became the CEO who was dressed awkwardly, where all other CEOs pretty much wear expensive suits and have typical haircuts. I suppose if you're into wrestling, something where you're on TV and you're supposed to look wild, you can get some crazy style out of it. But most people don't have that luxury. The funny thing about that is, as a teenager, a lot of kids, a lot of teenagers will have like t-shirts that they love. And then once you start working, you realize, oh, nobody allows you to really wear a t-shirt at your job. It's usually a collared button-up or polo style shirt, and at minimum. A lot of times, sometimes even that's not good enough. Sometimes it needs to be a full button-up, long sleeve shirt with a collar. So my recommendation is don't buy t-shirts. Instead buy polo shirts at minimum or higher in
you want to learn something
fanciness.
new, huh? Then I'm happy to help.
And get used to wearing those awful clothes, because they're not particularly comfortable unless you can get like really expensive silk versions and such.
Paul!
A lot of jobs won't allow you to have shirts with any lettering at all. Some jobs won't even allow you to have shirts with even the little alligator, if it's that brand of shirt. Even a little logo on the pocket. It may be unacceptable. Why is all this stuff unacceptable? Well, frankly, that gets into the deeper thing in which the bosses often like to make arbitrary rules and boss their employees around for no good reason. And there's a lot of times it is no good reason. They just want to be mean. And there's a lot of that where you have to learn to put up with it or decide for yourself, this is one too far and I'm out of here. And that's one thing that I never learned, particularly when I was young too, is it's alright to give up. A lot of kids go into like sports. I really wasn't into that, so that they learn I wasn't in any like extra activities like sports or band or anything. So I was never in a situation where I even needed or needed to actually give up on anything. So the first time I needed to give up on something was my first job, where I needed to say, you know what, this isn't worth the money. It's not worth putting up with the frustration of it. Took me a lot of time to realize that. And it's alright to quit. In fact, you probably should quit your first job almost certainly. Unless you're working for your family member, which is not recommended. You should, within a few years at most, quit your first job, and ideally have a better job lined up before you quit. I have no idea what's going on here. I guess I'm enjoying it.
It looks
Although
like the
there's
override
nothing really
mechanism for the
happened.
shutter's gone missing.
Oh, is that part of it in the vending machine?
Why would the mechanism be in the vending machine? I guess that's what you could do in the third movie, is have it where the dinosaurs are learning.
Who's got
like
some change? Who takes quarters? I got a $1.10.
Like, if dinosaurs knew that vending machines had food in them, that would train them to go towards
That's it,
vending
all
machines.
right. InGen sure had some weird ideas about candy.
And maybe then that would prepare a group of dinosaurs
So where's the rest?
to work their way towards off the island and towards human civilization. But then you're almost setting up a Planet of the Apes style storyline where the dinosaurs would be able to take over the entire world and better adapt to the human world than even the humans. That seems a little unrealistic. I still think there is a good movie in there though, if only like a group of like 5 raptors made it intercity and there was just a panic and an attempt to capture them. But then you basically are just doing the movie Predator 2, which is alright if you want to. You can remake a good movie a couple times, I would say, and Steven Spielberg certainly could probably get away with it. It's rather quiet here, besides the mother playing with the screeching bullhorn. Man, you really need to know the movie though. I just have like no idea.
Oh! Ow, are you okay, Paul? This is how you make dinosaurs?
Oh, those eggs have gone bad.
So this is like where they were. Here's their plan. Eggs plus DNA equals money. So we're getting the 3rd time we've seen a scene that's focused around the eggs and the hatchery. This time it is shown a little bit differently, so that's some progress. It kind of felt like in the second movie they did a lot of the scenes of the first movie just over again. This almost looks like a shiny silver area. I haven't seen any shiny silver things in the game yet, which is weird because that's been in every other Lego game. It'd be really strange if we didn't have some kind of explosive item that blew up shiny silver things. We do have a blue thing here, which somebody's got to work with. Oh yeah, the guy with the wrench.
Those are some long-life batteries.
Doesn't make a lot of sense that the father has the wrench ability. He said he owned a paint store, paint and like kitchen appliance store. That doesn't particularly indicate to me you'd have the ability to fix
I think there's some equipment in this crate.
like super unknown complicated technology.
Can one of you pull it free?
Everybody should know plumbing. At least some basic plumbing. You don't need to know pipe fitting per se, but you need to know how to get a toilet working again and all. And see, these computers are working. That if this movie was made in 2016, it almost certainly means that the computer would have some kind of AI in it, and there would be some kind of gone crazy computer AI element to this movie. Although, which that's not how it should be. We don't need to get away from the dinosaurs. It would be very easy to get distracted and take your dinosaur movie and change it into a different type of movie. So you need.
Okay, we need to get to that walkway above us. Fat chance with half of that ladder missing.
They needed to be really careful about that, and they so far have been.
That gives me an idea. We'll need to get those bones out of there.
So we're at halfway here, and like the previous couple of levels, it's just been like straight path, really. Just a few little puzzles that stop us from moving forward, and that's it. This guy cuts this. This guy fixes this with the B button instead of the X button. There we go, another dial. And what do? We're gonna drain this.
Great, but we'll need more pressure in there.
We're trying to burst the glass.
Stand back. Let's make a new ladder.
That would never happen. If you're gonna make a glass container that can hold a certain amount of liquid, it's going to almost certainly be 2 or 3 times at least strong enough than the maximum fluid capacity. You'd have to put something super dense and heavy, like maybe molten lead or something in it, not just water. And it would have to be a liquid that wasn't supposed to be in there, because if the canister was supposed to hold molten lead, they would make it strong enough to hold the maximum capacity of that.
This is gross.
This is a different puzzle, but it can only be done by Dr. Ian Malcolm. So that's free play stuff. At least we know that this section
They were trying to breed. I should get some shots of them.
Was added or integrated into the game after the second story was made, because there was none of that at all in the first level. What am I doing? It's like 4 of them. Getting 4 people to stand on the right platforms doesn't seem like it's gonna happen. Weird. But it seems like that's what it wants. So there's some kind of dinosaur or ET creature in this one. I can't even see, it's in the dark. And then there's definitely a dinosaur in this one, and definitely a fish in this one. Camera guy, take some pictures. Let's take care of these spitters. Oh, it is a dinosaur. The photo mechanic doesn't work well for that example. It's just kind of silly. I also don't like the dizziness and then the slow pass out. I would prefer that once you beat them, they immediately either blow to pieces or fall to the ground. The dying animation isn't necessary. That's another one. Sometimes I am just childish with my comedy. This is way too early to be in another race. Way too early. Like, we were in a chase at most 3 levels ago.
Left! Go left!
They went to their left. This is slightly different.
Pass?
At least this one's better thought out as a race. It's got more going on and it feels smoother. These are velociraptors, I assume. It feels like this third movie is just 100% escape from Dino Island with nothing else to say. At least so far, that's the case.
He's calling for help.
Come on!
Weird. So we didn't get the true survivor on this time. Again, that was only like 20 minutes. Each of these levels have been really, really short. And then weirdness is certainly gonna ensue once we start playing in free play, and it takes probably an hour to do even a decent amount of collectible finding. You probably will only play the actual story levels twice, maybe 3 times. So you're talking less than an hour for each level, and less than 26 levels, so that's like 26 hours maybe on that. And then wouldn't surprise me if there's somewhere close to 26 hours in free play mode to get you up to a 50-hour game. You do get a lot of gameplay usually in a Lego game. And we'll see more of that gameplay in the next recording. That's it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment if you want to, and watch every second of my videos. All that helps out. If you want to support me, you can click on my name, Rydo. On the right will be a blue button that says support this channel. Click it, make a donation. And if you want to friend or follow me on basically any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.